Let's go. Geometry Dash. I need to play this
Hello,
game
you
too.
absolute legends. The month is October of 2021, and one of the most exciting events in Geometry Dash history was occurring. It was a race to beat what would be considered at the time to be the most difficult level in Geometry Dash history. Several of the world's best players were going head to head to be the first to beat the level, Slaughterhouse.
One of those
Being
was
the
Geeky
first person to
George.
beat a level in Geometry Dash is one of its highest honors,
It just looks
especially
so
when the level is seen as
so
particularly
hectic.
difficult. So this would be a historical achievement for the person who eventually was successful. And while other
I- I'm
players in the past
I'm gonna do this right now because it's the beginning. But when I first saw Geometry Dash, I felt so stupid. I felt so stupid because I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on right now. I don't know what I would even do if I were to start playing this game. I know it's a lot of dodging and stuff like that, but I'm just like, what? Like, there's no way, dude. How?
had made decent progress, there was one player who by far showed the most promise. In late October, the player Space UK uploaded a video showing him getting through 92%
So this is
of
the guy,
level,
Space UK.
just shy of the end.
So
this
he's
was
European.
easily the furthest anyone had ever gotten, and showed
It's
that
a game with
getting
one
to the
button.
very
Just
end
overcomplicating
was
it.
imminent. But after Space UK uploaded his 92% video, there was one player who noticed that something wasn't quite right. So they downloaded the
Imagine playing
video
that
and
game on
studied
acid
it
or
in
something.
finer detail. Then on the 23rd of October 2021, the player Colo uploaded his findings to YouTube.
Okay.
And his findings were shocking. According to Colo, Space UK's
Splice it.
92% run was hacked. His
Hacked.
reasoning was that the mouse clicks you could hear over his footage didn't match what was actually happening in the game. It was subtle, but enough for Colo to accuse Space UK of cheating.
I love how like this kind of happens. This investigation happens from someone hating a little bit, just a little bit. Like he was right, probably, but there's a little bit of a haterade happening. He's like, man, fuck this guy. He's too good. He's got to be fucked up. He's got to be fucked up. You know what I mean? This is like, there's a little bit of a hater in this Colo guy, but it
Colo's
works.
vid
It
was
works.
sent to the moderators of the demon list, which I'll explain later. But the response from
Not
the
splice,
moderators
more
was
intricate.
as short
I'm
as it
excited.
was definitive. The response was just
Something about
3
cheating scandals is
words.
just so fascinating.
You are wrong. And so Colo's video was ignored and lost to the sands of time. And several days after Space UK's 92% run, he would become the first person to beat Slaughterhouse. This was arguably the greatest achievement in the game's history, and
Legend.
would place Space UK as the top-ranked Geometry Dash player.
Hey,
in the
USA,
world,
let's
a
go.
title that he
Third
would hold
place.
for well over a year. By many accounts, Space UK was the greatest player ever, beating all of the hardest levels and achieving things that only a couple of other people have ever done
I'm so
in the
dizzy.
game's history. He wasn't just any
Getting old.
player, he was the player. But in April
Colo
of
exposes
2023, something
Then
unexpected
the mod
happened.
dick
One of the
rides.
current
Oh, boy.
moderators named Zoe was watching some of Space UK's recent achievements and noticed that something wasn't quite right. So she studied them in finer detail. Then on April 26, 2023, Zoe
this is all
uploaded
Space
her
UK,
findings to YouTube.
right? This is all
and
his
her
footage?
findings were shocking. According to Zoe, Space UK's recent achievements were hacked. Her reasoning was that the mouse clicks you could hear in his footage didn't match what was actually happening in the game.
Okay.
It was
So that's essentially with Shmooey or someone in Clone Hero. It's like their speed doesn't match what's being played on the screen. That makes that I can get that. That's so crazy, dude.
subtle, but enough for Zoe to accuse Space UK of cheating.
Too varied.
And if this is
2
sounding eerily
frames
familiar,
apart.
it's because I said these exact same words just over a minute ago. Zoe had spotted what Colo had
2
spotted
frames is
over
insane
a year and a
to
half
notice
ago,
that.
but this time the
1 frame
moderators
delay.
took it seriously. And after Zoe's findings were made public, Space UK was banned from the ranks.
What does it say? To clear any potential confusion, the Space UK's exposal video is not a joke, and Space UK has confessed to hacking abyss of it. Okay, so he confessed to cheating. It's hard to hacking. He has been banned from the list. Okay, it's like once you pretty much say you've hacked Uh,
Space UK did respond, confessing that his main completions after May 8th, 2022 were all faked.
I lost interest in actually playing the game. How long I can go without being caught? Again, it's an ego thing, man. It's just it's I don't want to like equate it to being the same thing, but it's like a serial killer. How they leave calling cards or something, some like for police to find, because it's like there's a little bit of them that wants to be caught. It's like I'm so good and I'm getting away with it, but you still can't catch me. But there's like, you know, because like, even without being caught, like he wants to be caught.
But of course, Space UK was simply doing what many
Right? They
cheaters
went
do
frame
when
by
they are
frame. Yeah,
caught, which is to confess
it's a
to
lot of
some of
time.
what they
It's
did,
a lot of
but not
time.
everything. Because after this, new evidence emerged, and as it turns out, Space UK had cheated in every single major completion he had done in the game
Of course.
since 2020. He has faked everything he's done for almost the past 3 years. This is easily one of the most prolific and shocking cheating scandals I've ever seen.
What a
And
troll!
there are many questions that need to be answered.
And just
Why did it
cause
take a year and a half after being initially exposed by Colo
he was
before
bored.
he was ultimately banned? How did he get away with this for so long?
Yeah.
When in hindsight, the answers were so obvious. What was the new evidence that confirmed he faked everything? And where
Well, we'll go back really quick. We have confirmed that nearly every list Demon Space UK ever uploaded starting from that at least August was botted, including Slaughterhouse. Oh, so bots. Bots too? Is that the main hack that he used, was a bot?
evidence that confirmed he faked everything.
And then he just
where
kind of clicked
does the
randomly,
community
or
go
not randomly,
from
but as
here?
close as
In
possible.
this video, we will answer all of those questions. I really hope you enjoy.
The whole essay still, man. I need to shut
Now,
the fuck up.
legends,
Just watch.
look at this bag. Inside this bag contains the best tasting meal replacement shake I've ever had in my entire life. Now, obviously, I'm not huge, but I do work out, and I've
I like
been in
Carl, man. This guy,
fitness
he
for
just
about
looked like a
20
cool
years,
dude.
and in that entire time, I've never found a protein shake that I
Hashtag ad.
genuinely
Hey,
enjoyed.
yeah, man.
I'll drink them out
Hey,
of convenience,
we're
but
not
I've
watching
never
any other
found one
ad,
I've
you know what I
actually
mean?
liked.
I have ad blocker,
That is
but
until I tried Drink
you
Control.
gotta support
which is a
Carl, man. This
sponsor
guy
of
puts a
video.
lot
Drink
of
Control is a
lot of
meal
hours,
replacement
a lot of
shake
energy.
that has
You know what I
everything
mean?
you
So
need. It has a good
power to
amount of
Carl.
protein, carbs, fiber, vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and more. Drink Control is perfect right in the morning if you
That'll
don't
be
like
me one
eating
day,
a heavy
guys.
breakfast, which is when I
It'll
have
be like
mine,
kombucha or
or
something. I
directly
don't know.
after exercise for the protein and nutrients you need to rebuild. But honestly, more than anything, I drink these because they taste
Was
amazing.
it
Even if you
gamer
disregard
subs?
all of the
Was it
protein
Gamer
and
Grub?
health benefits, just having a Drink Control shake is a pleasure in of itself. So I definitely recommend you give Drink Control a taste by clicking the link in the description and trying out their bundle builder.
Tamper,
where
I
you
don't
can
know what
pick
you're
some
talking about.
flavors
I don't
and
use an
save
ad
up to
blocker. Sorry.
30% off. Plus,
Did I
if you
say
use
ad blocker?
my
I
code
meant
CarlJobs, you'll get an extra 10% off the best tasting shakes
I
you'll ever have
use
in your life.
an ad watcher.
Again, just click the link
It just
in
saves
the
it for later.
description. Geometry Dash, while looking fancy, especially on the harder levels, is an incredibly simple game. It's a
W sponsor.
platforming
Yeah,
game
yeah.
where the
Hey.
icon automatically moves from left to right, and the idea is to avoid obstacles and reach the end of the level.
Any sponsor that helps out a creator, I'm all for, as long as they're like legit. You know.
Game. It's a platforming game where the icon automatically moves from left to right,
Okay.
and the idea is to avoid obstacles and reach the end of the level. The simplicity arises
Easy
from the
enough.
fact that the game utilizes only a single button, and the game only registers if the button has been clicked, held, or released. And that's the only control over the icon the
I'm sorry if he answers this. Is there microtransactions in Geometry Dash? Because obviously there's millions of people that play this. Like, it's such a simple idea. Are they making? Do they make a lot? There's no microtransaction. Wow. So it's almost like a Newgrounds, or like not a Steam game. It's a Flash game in a sense. One guy as well. There's not a team. Oh, almost like Flappy Bird. Like, if any of you guys remember Flappy Bird, that was just like, it's such a simple concept, but it was so good. I feel like this game hits so many boxes. It's simple to play. It's flashy. It's easy to know what to do, to figure out once you like figure it out. Like, $7 and you get the whole game. That's okay. $7. Okay, that's reasonable. That's pretty good.
Player has.
One-
the icon can be
1
turned
million
into several
people,
different vehicles,
$7
all
bucks,
showcasing different mechanics.
$7 million?
But again, they are all controlled with a single input. For example, the cube
Genius.
will jump when the input is pressed.
Shout out
and when
Robert.
controlling the ship,
Great
pressing
game.
and holding the button will cause it to fly upwards, and releasing the
Yeah,
button
it's like
will
a
cause
space
it to
Flappy
gradually
Bird.
descend. Players change vehicles throughout the level by going through portals. There are also other types of portals that change various mechanics,
Made
like flipping
bank, yeah.
gravity, making
Hey.
the icon smaller, or creating two simultaneous
Power to 'em.
icons. Generally, levels are designed to align with a musical track, so
Right.
inputs feel like
It's
they are
genius.
played to the music.
So
Though
smart.
often the connection between gameplay and music, especially on the harder levels, is rather loose, and players don't rely on music to time button presses.
Nice.
The game was released with 21 levels, though the original levels aren't where the competitive side of Geometry Dash is utilized, as they became far too easy relatively quickly.
I was gonna
So
say, 21
custom
doesn't seem like a
levels
lot of
became the
levels at
mechanism
all.
that pushed the game forward. These custom levels are created by people not affiliated with the original developer, similar to how Mario Maker works.
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
As players became better, level designers would create more difficult levels
So
and give them
genius.
to players to verify.
That's the best thing you could do as a game developer, I think, is like make a simple enough game for it to be reached by masses, right? But then give it the give away the ability to make custom content like Super Mario Maker, Minecraft, even GTA, GTRP, or all the mods, all that stuff like you can do. It just amplifies the eyes and draws more attention to the game. Genius, genius marketing.
Verification means that the level has been beaten, confirming that beating it is actually possible. Once verified, the level can then be submitted to the developer to be given an official rating of difficulty, with the highest difficulty rank being Demon.
Demon.
And this is where
Extreme
the
Demon.
Demon list comes in. The Demon List is a website that ranks the hardest levels the game has to offer. But to
Little
be
Big
on
Planet
this
was
list,
good. You
the
can create
level
your own
has to be
levels. That's dope.
verified and rated.
It always
In
looks like a
simple
really cool game.
terms,
I like
to be
the little
ranked on
brown
the
dude.
Demon List, a
The little
level has
sock
to
puppet guy.
actually have been beaten by somebody. The Demon List doesn't just rank levels; it also ranks players.
Right.
Each level
It's like
is
Clone
given a
Hero. Look at
score.
Clone Hero.
The higher
Custom
the rank,
content
the
made
higher
the game
score.
blow
And
up
players
bigger than
get
it could
points
think,
for
because Hard Hero,
completing a level or
well,
getting
maybe not
through
as
a
big as
certain
Guitar Hero, but it
percentage.
made it live on
However,
forever,
you can only get a maximum of 50% of a level's total score if you haven't gotten to the very end. So to get all of the points, you really need to beat the level. And this is why level completions are so important. Demon List then tallies the scores of the players and ranks them based on their total
Demon
score.
List.
Currently, the top ranked player is Zoink, who has almost 7,000 points,
Hey, you
well
what's
ahead
up?
of second place. And the reason he is so far ahead is because of the top 75 levels, which is called the main list, he's completed 74 of them, while second place has only completed 43. The list does go beyond 75, but after that the score you get for completing each level drops dramatically, so it's the main list completions
Nice.
that really make the biggest difference.
Pointer crate.
The top ranked levels on
Ooh.
the Demon List are hard. Really,
I imagine
really
anyone with
hard.
epilepsy
Of any
can't
game
play
I've ever
this.
seen, when it comes to requiring pure precision in the timing of inputs, Geometry Dash probably
Jesus.
stands at the very top. The hardest levels require many
Even
frame-perfect inputs to avoid
Squinting,
death.
this is hard to
Players
like
will need
really
to spend
pinpoint.
thousands of attempts and sometimes hundreds of hours learning the different patterns required to get through. At this level, players are no longer reacting to the obstacles visually, but rather trying to memorize different clicking patterns and practicing them
Right.
over and over again in
They're
order to execute
yeah,
them
they're
perfectly.
pathing.
Personally, I don't understand how people can be this precise for an entire level. You really need to have nerves of steel. Even on
Come on, Carl, dude. You've been talking about games and stuff for that long. You don't know that nerds will figure out anything. Have you not seen speedruns? I know he's seen speedruns before, dude. Just like, dude. Come on, Carl.
the easiest levels, as soon as I get past halfway, I start
People
to get
already- they
nervous
do-
and
people- it's
everything
crazy.
goes to hell. But the top players, after
Is he a
many
speedrunner?
attempts,
I
can achieve a
think he
perfect
probably is.
run that lasts up to a minute and beyond. Most top
I'm just saying,
players
he's
use
like,
a
I don't know how
mouse,
they
some
pinpoint
use
it.
a
I'm like, come
keyboard,
on.
but either way,
You
being
know,
able to
man.
click with such precision is a very specific
You know.
skill
That's
to
right, it was
have,
GoldenEye.
and
I
it's
remember seeing
certainly
that.
one that
I remember
I
seeing
don't
that.
possess. Now, with all of
It was
that
like 2 minutes
context
or
put
something
into
like that for like
place,
the first
let's
level.
talk about the biggest cheater in
That's pretty cool,
Geometry
dude.
Dash
Speedrunning's dope.
history.
I love
Space
speedrunning.
UK.
I'm not good at it,
Space
but
UK began playing Geometry Dash
I
surprisingly
respect it so
late,
much.
starting in
It's
around
a lot of
March
practice,
of
a lot of time.
2020. His skills would quickly develop though, beating some decently hard levels in the following months. But his first big break would be when he beat the level Wazireta in August of 2020. This was the first time he had completed a level that was ranked on the main demon list. At the time, it was 20th, which was a massive achievement. However, while this Wazireta completion appears to be legitimate with everything we now know, it would be the last time Space UK would submit a completion that wasn't cheated.
I'll be straight
For
up.
the
He
next
should have just kept it
3
as space.
years, he
Space
would
UK
fake and cheat his way
space would
to
have been
the
so
very
dope.
top of the world. So let's find out exactly just how he did it. Space UK's next big completion would be a level called the Golden, which he claimed in December of 2020. This was incredibly significant because the Golden was ranked number 2 on the Demon list. However, this run was not legitimate, as Space UK was using a cheat called No Clip,
Oh, for sure.
which means he
Yeah.
would pass.
We can check that out, I guess, since it's in this.
The mod view shit, just don't even bother. You know, I don't really think you need to.
Actually, you know what? This is actually really nice to hear the clicks as well. And to see a full level from start to finish, to understand it. Dang, so this one, obviously the lights turn off too, which makes it that much more difficult. I mean, what's nice is you do get to see the progress bar, which helps. It really is all about rhythm. It's wild. he ain't blinking. He ain't blinking either.
Yes.
That's dope. Good for him.
Yes. Oh my fucking god.
That's so cool.
Yes. Oh my god. Oh my. Let's go, dude. Finally. I hate this fucking level. I don't know. That's good enough. Alright, 61,693. Okay, so the total attempt count including verification, 79,170. So more than Kino's. 10k more than Kino's. Oh, wasn't my 400 demon? Oh my fucking god. Another top 1 down. That was a verifier. Thank you guys. 29 days. Didn't even make it.
Nice. Congratulations, buddy. Is he still the first on that one? I'm assuming so. Oh. Okay. Try to make sure I have this in like a decent place. If I need to move my webcam, let me know, guys, and I can move it.
Through obstacles like spikes without dying. According to a later
Doggy's the
confession,
first. Nice.
Space UK claims that he didn't even realize he was using No Clip at the time, and only found out about 20 minutes later. But he still decided to submit it anyway, with the mindset of, if it's caught, I'll just quit. But the run ended up being accepted. The reason it was not spotted at the time is because Space UK was legitimately good at the level, having reached 96% of the way through without cheats. And in this particular run, there are only 2 instances where he would have just barely died. Questions were raised at the time about these instances, but there was no way to prove for sure he would have died. Nowadays, however, moderators do have the tools to see the exact hitboxes and can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that death would have occurred at least twice in the run. But at the time, it wasn't as straightforward. After Space UK's completion was accepted, much to his own surprise, he decided to go full force and cheat intentionally for the rest of his career. Throughout 2021, he would complete many of the hardest levels on the Demon list, including the #1 ranked at the time, Tartarus.
I'm trying to think of like what could he get out of being #1, like aside from being the #1 Geometry Dash player in the world, which I guess some people would like that, sure. But he just wanted to do it just because he didn't want to get caught. He was already good at the game. Like you could stream it, you could make videos of it, you could monetize it if you wanted to. It's just I understand the whole ego thing. It just is it's baffling. It really is. It really is baffling that you're already good at something. You're not the best. It's okay to not be the best at something. You know what I mean? It's like you look at like Asai, Frith, Randy, Carney, these huge players, and Clone Hero. Each one of them is really good at the game, and someone might take it, a song here, someone might take a song here or whatever. Is there a best player? No, not really. You can't, there's just different days that you're good at something and different days. Next year there's another player that comes up, and there's never really a full-on best. Even in basketball, it's like Michael Jordan. Okay, argument Kobe, LeBron. You know what I mean? It's like there's a million different people that you could say. It's all interpretation, but to fight for that #1 spot is just so unhealthy.
His method was to use a
clout, I guess. You don't really get a lot from being #1 GD player aside from just the community flex. Right, it's just, yeah, exactly. It's just a flex. It's a flex in a small little niche, portion of gaming. Super small. Hitboxes are not accurate in this game. You can clip pretty far into spikes. Oh, is that good or bad? The first guy to beat the hardest demon, you get all the fame, the community on their knees. It's good. It's a good thing. Okay. Yep.
Hack called Zbot. Zbot allows you, among other things, to program a macro.
Bunch of people from behind a computer screen, though. You know what I mean? It's just like,
essentially, it lets you.
At the end of the day, we all go to sleep.
Pre-programmed run. Space would play the game normally for a few minutes before activating.
I have to play this. I do have to play this just to
running,
fully understand it. I'll buy the
game. Still trying to hit the mouse clicks at all the right times. The reason it was important to try and recreate the mouse clicks is that the Demon list requires two specific things as part of their proof policy. One is the raw, unedited recording of the gameplay, including the entire session. However, this only includes game sounds and not the sounds recorded by the microphone. So the second thing they need is a video that includes all of the mouse clicks, so they can listen to them and make sure they were legit. Space UK, similar to almost every other cheater who has been caught after dominating their game, was still a very good player, so his clicks seemed legitimate, at least when listening to them.
Dark Viper made a pretty good point about content versus speedrunning for #1. In one of his ramble videos, talked about how if you're grinding for #1, it's pretty much for glory because you sink so much time in. You can't also be a content creator. It's a good point. Like you can, but not as efficiently, and the range of content you produce is very limited. Yeah, right. Because you figure like if you're grinding to be #1. It's like grinding for FCs. It's like you're literally just going over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, just for that #1 spot, for on anything, a song or for the #1 score or whatever. And it's like you're chasing something, and it's fun. It can be fun in a healthy way. It could be a healthy grind, because I do feel like pushing yourself beyond what you think you can do is always good. You should always be pushing yourself to be better. At video games or whatever you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's when it gets to the point that here is when you feel the need to cheat. When you feel the need to dishonor yourself. You know what I mean? And again, for pixels on a screen. You know what I mean? Like you get your 15 minutes for 3 years in this case of fame, and then it's gone. And then all that time, all that work is just poof. 3 years, 10 years down the line, what? Less than 1%, no, 1%, less than 0.0001% of the world is going to remember who Space UK is. You know what I mean? Like, even if you grew up on this game and you knew who Space is, it's like you're going to grow older and he's just going to be forgotten. And all that cheating is whatever. As opposed to just being honest, making good content, and have people remember your name in a good light. You know? I guess he does get a legacy in a sense. Space does get a legacy because he is still being talked about. He is. So he kind of did get what he wanted. He wanted to be caught. He wants to be talked about. Essentially, that's what people like him most likely want, is to be talked about, and that's what we're doing. So he kind of won, in a sense. If Rob's fixed spike hitboxes, every demon would not be possible. Not like harder, but like physically not possible. For example. And for example, Slaughterhouse. I couldn't cheat because I don't really do anything for anyone else. Yeah, I do it for me, and if I'm cheating, it's just me lying to myself, and I'm doing that. Right? Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Cheaters do this for other people. Cheaters cheat for other people, essentially, unless you're cheating on like a loved one. You know what I mean, like a boyfriend or girlfriend. Then that's it's a selfish thing, but. Cheating is you're doing it for the recognition of other people. Again, it's the ego. You want people to think you're better. You want people to think you're good, or you're a godlike player. You have something to offer the community and the world and society by being good at this video game. I'm on delete my emotions like I was being toxic. Or bitch. It happens, George. It's miscommunication, man. The only time I cheat is downloading cracked versions of idle farming games from the Hey, I think we've all downloaded cracked stuff. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Sometimes you got to save a little bit of money. It's understandable.
Ear. Listening to a novice player trying to fake mouse clicks would give them away instantly, but Space UK was good enough to fool everyone, including the moderators. But then the Slaughterhouse race happened, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Several of the top players were trying to beat the most difficult level yet, and Space UK was way out in front. In October, Space UK posted a video showing him getting through 92% of the level, and this is where Colo makes their appearance. Colo downloaded the 92% video and really studied the footage in detail. He found that many of the mouse clicks did not sync up exactly with what was happening in the game.
Sorry, so as someone who has done does video editing and stuff like that, I feel like a lot of these people, from what it seems like, they're watching footage of bots and they're clicking and they're trying to match the clicks, right? And they're just putting that one audio file in. If they were smart, they would literally just get a sample click or just get a click and literally go millisecond by millisecond or frame by frame and line it up perfectly. And then it would line up perfectly, as opposed to just trying to click it almost, as close as you get it, That's my opinion for that.
When the mini wave transitions into the big wave, the click comes 5 frames after. This is really bad. This is really suspicious. In this wave spam, every click is like 2 frames.
I'm gonna be honest. MapleStory, I did hack a couple times. My buddies were like, "Hey, I figured out how to hack," and I'm like, "Let's try it out. Let's do it." Now I did try it out, and some of my friends found out, and I got not in trouble, but there's people that looked at me a little bit differently because they found out that I like did a little bit of hacking. It wasn't even for like forever. It was just for like a month or so. And people look at you differently, once they find out. It's a whole morality aspect of it. So
Times later, this is really, really strange.
I was in high
Sometimes
school,
the clicks
so
would happen on the same frame, but other times they would be multiple frames late or even early. This doesn't make sense at all. Now, in certain cases, it can be understandable for clicks not to match the footage, but if that does happen, it needs to be consistent. For example, if there is an audio delay on OBS, you might find that every single mouse click is 2 frames late. But again, it has to be consistent. Space UK's clicks were all over the place, and there was just no technical reason to explain this. This is called click variance, and now we know for a fact that a large click variance is proof that a run is hacked. Though at this specific time, this wasn't seen necessarily as concrete proof, which is why in Colo's video title, he labeled the Slaughterhouse run as only suspicious instead of outright fake. Though in the actual video, he does make his
that's
true
laziness,
thoughts
George.
a
Just
bit
laziness.
more clear, saying this.
you could tell
So what are the conclusions?
Space just
I
didn't
think these
care.
clicks are
He
fake.
was just trying to see how far he
Some
can get
clicks
away
are
with it.
right in the frame with
He's
the
just
movement.
trolling
Some
pretty
clicks are
much.
1 or 2 frames after the
That's a
movement.
dope. That's a
Some
dope
clicks
level.
are
I like this
5
one.
frames after
It's my
the
favorite
movement,
one so far.
and I found that one click, which is 1 or 2 frames before the movement. It's impossible to have it like this. Keep in mind that Slaughterhouse has frame perfects for higher refresh rates than 60 FPS. So it's impossible to play legitimately and get this high delay difference. Space, I believed you and respected you, but this is horrible, this is terrible. Please confess, take down all your cheated progresses and do it legitimately.
I also mentioned at the beginning of the video
Colo
that
seems like a nice
Colo's
guy.
video was sent to the moderators, which rejected the information, and there might be a reasonable explanation
you guys
for
said,
this,
yeah. Idiot.
because in the original
Idiots.
message that was sent to the moderators, there were actually 2 videos linked, both from Colo. One was about the click variance, which we know now was completely correct, but the second video was a wild claim that Space UK had been cutting his videos.
Yeah, again, there's a difference between being 10 years old, even high school, and cheating. Again, not to justify it, it's not good. But there's a difference between being an adult, or to consciously know that you're doing it and continuously do it for 3 years. That's a choice. You steal candy one day from a store on a whim because your friends tell you to or whatever. It's one thing. You do it all the time. That's an issue. The mod team says they don't know who sent the "you are wrong" response, but I thoroughly believe they know who sent it and are just trying to cover their... Oh, 100%. 100%. Absolutely. That becomes political at that point.
Otherwise known as splicing.
And as you can
Yeah, I
see,
use FL Studio.
there, the kick starts before than on the original audio, so it's shifted. And as you can see, there is some strange click here. So I think it's cut.
Colo's evidence for this was that the song in Space's game footage didn't sync up exactly when played next to the original song. However, it's common knowledge that the song audio in Geometry Dash levels desyncs all the time due to various reasons.
Yeah.
And many players use a legal mod that will try to keep the song in sync with the level due to this problem. I even downloaded Space's video and checked the audio spectrogram, and there was absolutely no evidence of splicing or cutting. So what you had was
What a
2
legend.
videos,
Carl's a
one
legend.
correct and one that was actually blatantly wrong, and perhaps the moderators simply rejected both of them for that reason. Though moderators today will openly say that this kind of response was still unacceptable. At the very least, this information should have been passed on to the rest of the team. All of the moderators I asked said they didn't even know that Colo's video existed until after Space UK was exposed, which meant that whoever responded to this Twitter message simply rejected it on their own accord and didn't tell anyone else. In a recent community announcement, the Demon List moderators apologized for this and stated that at the time they were getting a lot of incorrect exposal attempts, so they were very quick to dismiss them.
Sounds good, George.
With Colo's video rejected, Space UK was free to continue to run his macros and pretend to click over the top. I assume that even Space UK didn't know Colo's video existed, because he himself changed nothing and continued to cheat in the same way, which seems really bizarre if he knew a video existed, literally saying he cheated and correctly identifying the way he was doing it.
But again,
after Space UK verified Slaughterhouse, being the first to beat it a few days later, he solidified his position as the top-ranked Geometry Dash player
He's just like,
in
man,
the
just keep
world.
going.
Slaughterhouse
I'm gonna get
was
caught, I'm
by
gonna get
far
caught.
the hardest level ever completed, and would be considered the hardest level ever completed for the next year or so. Now, I'm not going to go through every single fake level Space UK claimed to beat, because it was all of them, but to give you an idea about how much of a big deal Space UK was, I will mention two things. Each year, the community hosts an awards show, and one of the awards is Best Player of the Year. In 2021,
For 1,000
Space UK
votes?
won
That's
this
a lot.
award with over 70% of
Welcome back,
the
George.
vote, and there were over 21,000 voters. He also won Best Player of 2022. And in May of 2022, Space did something that only one other person had ever done before. He completed all 75 of the main Demon List levels. The Demon List admin tweeted out this achievement, saying, "This is not a feat of luck, but of pure skill and determination few others have."
That
A
sucks.
message
That sucks because it's almost like it's like a stamp of approval, and once you get that stamp of approval from something as big as like Demon List in this community, it's like it just gives Space even more space from like being called a cheater, because more people will be like, oh, Demon List said he was legit, you know, he's probably legit, and then a vast majority of people aren't going to look into it except for like Colo, you know what I mean, who just, there's a couple of people that are just like, they got probably have that gut feeling, you know what I mean. It's almost comical, dude. It's almost like a movie, you know what I mean. Like there's that idiot, this stupid cop or stupid mayor who just doesn't believe something even though it's right there, you know. It's just gonna come back to bite him.
that is definitely
That was literally his whole mindset at the time. Fake my way to the top, and if I'm caught, right, yeah.
not aged well. The first player to ever do this legitimately was a player named Nswish back in 2020, and it was recently done again by the current top player, Zoink, in 2023. It's hard to overstate how much of an impact Space UK had. Beating Slaughterhouse pushed the game further ahead than perhaps any other level in the game's history. He really was seen as the greatest player of all time. But as I have always said, and will continue to say, being good doesn't make you any less likely to cheat. Aside from the click variants that Colo had already detected in 2021, there were other red flags that, while not proof at the time, make total sense in hindsight. For example, Space UK would regularly stream his gameplay, and he would do quite well, though he would never seem to get an actual completion live. His completions were always offline. But there was one time where he did complete the level Rust live on Twitch, though of course the stream was muted. However, after the completion, he unmuted himself and kept repeating the fact that finally he had completed something on stream.
Or
I beat something on stream.
or a fucking clicker. He had the video of his finger clicking, dude. Like, it's such a simple. He has a camera. Just
Finally, I beat something on stream. Beat something on stream, bro.
Obviously, he knew that getting only offline completions was dubious, and I guess this was his way of trying to quash any suspicions. Fast forward to April of 2023, the moderator Zoe ended up studying some of Space UK's recent footage, and again she picked up on the click variants. For example, on Space UK's completion of Acheron, the current #1 ranked level, his clicks were anywhere from being 2 frames early to 6 frames late. That's a variance of 8 frames. And by this stage, the moderators knew that click variance was actually a big deal, and almost certainly meant that a run was fake. Massive click variance was present in basically all of Space UK's.
It's crazy how much 6 frames is. It happens so quick, but when you really like break it down, there's a lot of information in 6 frames.
Footage. Zoe then released a video exposing Space on the 26th of April, and just 20 minutes later, Space confessed to cheating everything since May 2022. Honestly, it was hard to verify much before that time, seeing as a lot of old footage that moderators used back then had been deleted by this point. However, then a bombshell hit. In his messages to the moderators, Space admitted to using Z.
I also use this, by the way. If you're interested, literally just search. He's so nonchalant about it. He's just like, I just don't care, and it's hard. It's so tricky to not so much get mad at someone who doesn't care, but be like, if you get angry at him or anything, it's just going to fuel him with joy, knowing that he got to you. You know what I mean? He just does not care. And when someone doesn't care, there's almost nothing you can do. Yeah, 6 frames off. Oh yeah, 6 frames is huge. It's huge.
Bot to program his macros. And
To think about when you're editing a chart, right, and you're putting a video background with it, like 6 frames would be, you would literally see it be off by so much. It's crazy.
And someone in the moderation team called Kapamari remembered that the developer of Zbot put a watermark on the completion screen, which you could use to show that Zbot was used. The watermark was that the level complete message was slightly smaller than it should be, going from 1004 pixels down to 940. This watermark was originally inserted to detect hackers, but it never actually did catch anyone, and by this point in time had all but been forgotten about. No one had even looked for this watermark in years, but going through Space UK's completion, the watermark was present in every single one, going all the way back to 2020.
I be Akron! I just 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 be Akron. I just be Akron. I just be Akron.
This guy can't spell.
Oh my god.
Good at clicking, can't spell.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I just be Akron.
Breathe, man, breathe, my guy. Good actor. Hey, good actor.
I just fucking be Akron. I just be Akron. I just be Akron.
The first run that actually seems legitimate is Wazareta.
Yeah, how do you not notice? Yeah,
after the
happens.
Watermark
It happens, man.
that everything was
Honestly.
faked, Space UK would wipe his entire YouTube channel and social media, though he would ultimately reinstate his Twitter with a twit-longer apology, basically confirming that everything since,
500,000
the Golden
views
back in 2020 was hacked. To this day, I don't know why players just don't fully admit to all of their cheating when they are caught. Because once you've been caught for one thing, now every single
Snowballs.
investigative eye is on you, and
Yeah.
if you've cheated more, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that both of the click variants and the Zbot watermark were obvious signs of cheating that could have been spotted at any time and
Right.
yet weren't.
So for 3 years, that watermark was on there, and no one said a thing because it just. I'm trying to think. It's like if it was just the hype of the completion of the level, and it's just, you're not paying attention to the minuscule details of something. It is what it is.
for a single person, Colo, all the way back in 2021. The evidence was literally staring
It's actually kind of it did. I don't know if I missed that, but Colo didn't mention anything about that, did he? Huh? About the watermark, because that would have been something that I imagine if he was looking into the clicks and the frame rates and all that stuff like that, wouldn't he have? No, it's just, in hindsight you would notice it, but it's just like, if he was that into the game and the details, wouldn't he have noticed the watermark? Or he could have, but we didn't notice it. It's a major but not noticeable detail. You're right. Everyone trusted Space. Yeah. That makes sense. Everyone except for Colo and that girl Zoe.
staring everyone in the face the entire time, and yet it took years before he was exposed. Oh, and remember that Rust completion he completed live that I mentioned earlier? That was using Zbot 2, which explains why his stream was muted. In a community post, the moderators did not hold back and did take total responsibility, stating, "Allowing Space to slip through our systems this whole time is a major fuck-up. There is no ignoring that. Regardless of the circumstances that allowed him to get by easier than other hackers that the list routinely bans, we really messed up."
Hey, you know what? At least they owned up to it. At least with this. They didn't own up to the mod that said something before, or that didn't accept the information. But
Ultimately, in my opinion, this came down to a matter of trust. Trusting too much that a player would never cheat. Thus, they weren't as stringent when it came to proof detection. Players just assumed that Space UK was legit, and that was that. They didn't make all the checks they should have. But what I find even more fascinating is that the community was shocked that this happened. Obviously, if you're a fan of my
you're
channel,
more focused on the
you've
level,
heard this
not the
story
font.
many times before. Whether it's Riolu in Trackmania, Shmooey
I
in
think I watched
Guitar
a little bit of that
Hero,
one.
or
Hey, it's our boy.
Minecraft in Minecraft. The world's best players often get caught faking everything. So it's not really a shock at all that this happened again. What communities need to do is start learning from the mistakes that other communities have made, or at least be aware of them. Don't wait until it happens to you. Ensure beforehand that it never does. And for those wondering if suspicious click variance is common amongst other top players, I can tell you that the moderation team have since checked a ton of other players, and not a single one of them show the same signs. Nor has the Zbot watermark been found anywhere else. This really does appear to be a unique case, not something that spread wide throughout the ranks. And while I'm not allowed to go into specific detail, the methods of cheat detection have already vastly improved since Space UK was exposed. So if you were thinking of trying a similar method, I would be really shocked if it wasn't immediately spotted.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to touch on is the
now.
subtle theft that cheating includes. I look back at my greatest gaming achievement, which was beating the first level of GoldenEye in 52 seconds.
52 seconds.
Beating the old record of 53 seconds, which had lasted for 15 years.
Don't cry, Carl.
This ended up being a really big deal. There were even news articles written about it plastered all over the internet. But all of those accolades and the attention I got pale in comparison to the pride that I feel within myself for going after such a difficult challenge, putting in the time and the effort and research, and doing something that no one else had ever done before. It really means a lot to me, and it always will. And no one can ever take that away from me. Someone has already matched my record, and I'm sure that many more will in the future, but when I achieved it first, it was special in a way that can't be replicated.
When
Space UK cheated his way into beating Slaughterhouse for the first time, he stole that unique specialness from the person who would have actually beat it first legitimately, which in this case was a player named Doggy. Doggy can look back now and say that he was the first to beat it for real, but the moment is long gone, and it can't be recreated. The attention, the accolades, the pride that Doggy would have felt at the time is long gone. It was robbed from him forever. And this is something that I think a lot of people don't truly grasp. because Space UK is still uploading his Geometry Dash runs to YouTube, and if you read the comments, it seems like no one even cares that he literally cheated and lied to everyone for 3 years.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't understand how people could still act so positively towards
Oh,
him, especially
man.
so soon. In my opinion, if you disgrace yourself and disrespect and hurt a community this badly, you should probably just leave and not come back for a pretty long time.
People don't care. Some people just do not care. Or I think there's a lot of people that grew to like his personality and who he was in general. You know, there's probably a lot of sympathizers. You know, you think about people. You hear about women, and I'm sure some men in some cases, but women who like will write letters and want to marry people that are in jail. You know, convicted felons and stuff like that. And it's like it makes you like, why would you, what triggers you to want to be with someone that has been a murderer or whatever. And it's like, but that's just part of someone's human nature to do that. It doesn't make sense to a lot of us, but it's there. You know, you can't comprehend it. You can't even explain it.
The impact from these types of cheating scandals can never be fully comprehended because
That's
they
good, George.
touch
That's
so many
good.
people. To
Good.
finish this video, I'll leave you with the words of Doggy, the real first person to beat one of the hardest levels in Geometry Dash history, Slaughterhouse. And I'll also leave a couple of videos in the description from players who fully give credit to the other people that Space UK robbed of their own special moments.
I've always been a bit regretful of myself for not verifying Slaughterhouse initially, because I hold the level dear to me, at least more than any other Geometry Dash level. This level's like it's my little brother, alright? Missing out on being engraved in the story of Slaughterhouse has always disappointed me. And cut to today, it turns out I verified Slaughterhouse without even knowing it. Definitely an interesting way to gain the title I thought I had long lost the opportunity to ever have. It's also crazy to look back at how much we were all manipulated into praising this absolute fraud as the pinnacle of GD skill. Lying to the community and his friends through multiple years is something I have no idea how he woke up every day and did. I'm really disappointed though that Space ended up being someone completely different than what I thought. He seemed like a chill guy, like a nice dude, but it doesn't seem like that anymore, obviously. So I was pretty bummed out about the whole thing. I'm sure this will have a huge impact on the community forever. I don't think we'll ever look at players the same way, especially the ones who provide the bare minimum evidence. But yeah, I just wanted to leave you guys with a few comments from me on this situation. For anyone out there that thinks they can take shortcuts for success and praise, just know it'll catch up with you eventually.
Thank you so much for watching, you legends. A big thanks to the people listed on screen
Nice.
for helping me learn about Geometry Dash and what happened. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.
That was great. That was really, really good. Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, you're right. And again, I think that happens. I mean, look at baseball, basketball, any sport. You know, even look at Tiger Woods. Right, Tiger Woods cheated on his wife. I think they had a son or some kid, right, with multiple women. This is Tiger Woods, biggest golfer in the world. You know, I think he lost a couple brand deals. He probably didn't golf in tournaments for a little bit, but he came back, still sponsored them, Nike and all that, still make millions and millions and multi-millions of dollars, and still has a bunch of fans. You know, there's that saying of too big to fail. You know, and even at a small scale like Geometry Dash or Clone Hero, it's like there's still a level of fame. There's still a level of having a certain amount of fans that will just like you for you, even if you make a hiccup or you do something that's off-putting. You know, but their mistakes come with that tail, that shadow that follows them for life now. They will always have that stamp of a cheater. You know, that's never going away. That's never going away. It's like the Scarlet S. You know, that's never going away. No matter what they do, no matter what they say, they will always be known as, hey, you're that guy that cheated on this game or whatever. They may not know that in work, but online, this is forever. This video, 2.5 million views 7 months ago. It's only going to get more views. It may not get to a billion views, but it might 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, whatever. There's always going to be awareness of about space, about cheaters and stuff like that. So it's like it's pretty crazy. It's good, George. Keva, Amico, myself. That we choose to not cheat. If you're good at something, you're good at something. If you're not, you're not. Go find something that you can try to be the best at. And it's that journey to be the best is so much better, in my opinion, than being the best. Because you're always learning. You always want to learn. You always want to get better. You know what I mean? If you're the best, there's a chance that you're gonna be like, I don't need to do much more. Yeah, I've already made it this way. I've made it this far. It's so annoying to see how biased moderators are. Look at this comment right here. Yeah, that moderator was probably a big fan of space, like we're talking about. There's probably a few of those moderators that were like, I love space, he's my homie, blah 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 blah, or they knew space specifically, as friends, and they're like, I'm gonna watch his back. Like I know he's cheating, but I'm not gonna do anything or say anything about it. That could be why they didn't say anything, is because they knew that guy was probably in cahoots with space a little bit. Yeah. I think the mods knew exactly who rejected Colo. Yeah, obviously. Only trying to cover their ass because they are largely embarrassed about getting caught dropping the ball so hard. Yeah. That was great. Very, very, very nice.